You might all be wondering what I've been doing the past few days because I've been quite quiet on Facebook. Well, this is the reason. You might recall I put an advert out for anybody wanting to bake their Christmas cakes this year, that I was going to put together packs of ingredients. Well, I had quite a lot of orders, as you can see, and this is what I've been doing, and it's been good fun getting it all together, and I'm really looking forward to seeing all your videos of your Christmas cakes. So thank you. I'm not going to. Welcome to the Cookery Nook. I'm so pleased that you've joined me. I think there's about 25 of you out there baking your cakes. And just run quickly through what we've got here, and then we'll get cracking with it. Inside your box you'll have your recipe sheet, and you'll also have a sheet giving you the list of ingredients in the kit. So you know what kit you've bought. So just cross-reference and just check that you've got everything. There will be extras that you need to add. In kit 1 you've got your dried fruit, which is here, your soft brown sugar and your flour, which come in compostable bags. And you've got your ground almonds and your almond flakes. You've got some vanilla extract, which will come in a little pot like this. I'm actually going to be measuring mine out of the bigger pot. And then you're going to have some parchment and some string. I've given you a whole roll of parchment because I don't know what size tin you're going to be using, and I will explain to you how you need to use that a bit later on. Okay, kit 2, you've got a fresh orange and a lemon, 250 grams of unsalted butter. If you've got kit 2 and with your own butter anyway, you need to take it out of the fridge and let it come to room temperature and chop it into little pieces ready. And then you need 4 large eggs, and you need to whip them up, which I'll do in a minute as well. The extras that are available are a plastic box, and that is to store your cake in when it's cooked, put it somewhere where you can easily access it to feed it every week with the alcohol. Again, I'll go through that later. Then there's also extras. You can get marzipan, fondant and jam. I haven't put those out here because I don't need them today. So let's get started. That you need, there's not very much at all. So you need a big pan, a decent sized pan. You need a sieve and a wooden spoon, and if you've got one of these are brilliant. Use that as well. And then if you've got a big bowl, great. If not, you can still use the pan later, but I will explain. That will all become clear. And obviously you're going to need your baking tins, so you can either use a 7-inch square, an 8-inch round, or 2 6-inch round ones, which is ideal if you want to give somebody a gift. Also, if your family don't eat much Christmas cake, and let's face it, at the moment we're not going to be able to get together as big groups, if you do a square one, you can actually cut that into 4 and decorate 4 individual cakes, which is quite a nice idea as a gift for somebody. So you start off by putting all your fruit in the pan. You'll see I've got nuts in with mine as well. I haven't added nuts to your mix because quite a few people don't want them. But if you do want them, you just take out 100 or maybe 200 grams of your dried fruit and just replace it with nuts. That's your choice. So you've got your fruit in there, then you're going to grate your orange and your lemon. You can do this in advance and have it ready to go in, or you can just grate it in. These things are really good, handheld ones. And if you haven't done this bit before, and I'm thinking about, you know, any of you, a couple of you have said it's the first time you've baked a Christmas cake. It might be the first time you've ever baked a cake. When you're taking the zest off an orange or a lemon, you just need to make sure you don't go right down to the white pith, so you can still see a little bit of the orange there, because that just adds a very bitter flavour if you do that. So I'm just going to carry on and do this as quick as I can. Need some music in the background when I'm not talking. Because usually when I'm doing this, I've got a room full of ladies and gents all having a good laugh and some music going on in the background. And it's just a different atmosphere to me being in the kitchen on my own. And my lemon. And again, you did the same principle with the lemon. You don't go right down to the white. So let me just show you that orange, by the way. So that's what you're left with. and this is when the kitchen starts to smell really nice now with all the flavours. But yeah, it is. It's such a pity that we haven't got you all here, and a few people were saying that they're really missing not coming, because we have a full day baking our Christmas cakes, and we have lunch, and then, you know, there's some Prosecco flowing as well sometimes. So it's good. Well, it's all changed, isn't it, this year? So, nearly there. And this just adds so much colour as well to the cake, it's lovely. Right, so, I'm just going to get the rest of that off there. Oops. The rest of that off there so I'm not wasting it. So, if you have a look at that, there's your peel in there. And then we're just going to cut up the orange and lemon and do the zest. Sorry, the juice, not the zest. So you can squeeze this straight in by hand if you want as well, but you're likely to get lots of pips. So I do it like this to make sure I don't get any pips. Make sure you get as much out as you can. Should be smelly vision this, because it smells lovely. If you hear any banging going on in the background while I'm doing this, my husband and my son are in the back garden laying the patio, and I can just see him just starting to swing something to make a noise. And I have told them to be quiet, but it's not great to do about it really. Right, so I think that's done. Okay. Seeds. So there's quite a lot of juice there, which is lovely, and then that's just going into the pan. And then you need to add the butter. And your sugar. And then all you're going to do is give that a good mix with your wooden spoon. If you put the camera in there with that. So I'm just going to give that a good mix round. And then this is just going to go on the stove on a medium-high heat. And you're going to bring it up to the boil, just stirring it occasionally. We'll come over here now. Just stir it occasionally until all the butter's melted. So we'll come back to that in a few minutes, and you can see how that's going on. Once everything's in the pan, you're just going to add your alcohol. If you don't want to use alcohol, you just use 150 ml of tea or apple juice or orange juice, whatever you like. Now regarding the alcohol, you just need something that is dark, so you could put a dark rum, a whiskey, a brandy. Last year somebody used Tia Maria, and the smell, it was absolutely gorgeous, and she said her cake was divine. So, you know, you just need to decide yourself which alcohol you prefer or not. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a quick demo on how to line your cake tin. This is me I'm using two 6-inch ones, but it's a similar principle on whatever you're doing. You might know how to do it anyway, you might do it differently to me, it really doesn't matter. I'm just going to show you briefly with the round one. So first of all, to get your base, you're just going to draw around your base. Now we need to double layer the inside and the outside of the cake, and this is because it's in the oven for such a long time. The outside obviously will start to cook before the inside, and we don't want it to burn, so we layer it up quite thickly with parchment. You can also, towards the end of cooking, if you see that it's starting to catch a bit on the top, you just cover it with some parchment just to stop it from burning. So this is just my rounds for the inside. And this is why I've given you a whole thing of grease-proof, because you can put newspaper on the outside, but I'm going to use parchment on mine. So there's your 2 rounds for the inside. What you then need to do is you need to get 2 big squares that you know will go up the outside like that, which we will tie on with the string that you'll have. But we're going to do that after the cake is ready to go in. So here's one that I did earlier on. So I'm just going to, so that's what it needs to look like on the inside. I'm just going to briefly show you what I did. So first of all, you're just going to just put a little bit of grease on the inside. So it's just a little bit of butter or oil, preferably butter. Okay. And then you're going to get 2 strips, and the strips need to be just a bit taller than the pot. And what you're going to do is you're going to cut the edge. So if I just demo with this one and show you, you're just going to cut along. This is so that it folds easily on the inside, like that. And then fold over bits that you've cut so that it goes in easily. So just pop it inside your tin. And so it comes down like that inside the tin, and then you can pop your parchment on top. So that's what you're going to do, but you're going to do that twice. Okay, so I've done the second one. I'm not going to bore you and show you me doing the second one as well, but that's basically what you do. And that's it, double lined. So you've got 2 rounds and 2 edges done. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, it's bubbling up nicely now, and you just need to make sure that your fruit is well covered with the juice. Give it a good stir. And then now that it's bubbling, you can just switch it off and you just let it rest now for half an hour. So that's gone off, and just make sure that there's no pockets of fruit that are in big lumps, and just let it rest. And that's it. Okay, so this has been resting for half an hour, and it's soaked up a lot of the juice and the flavours from the alcohol and the fruit, and it just smells amazing. And you will know the smell yourself, because you'll be busy doing this soon. So all you do now is you can either, like I said before, you can either leave it in this pan and add the rest of the ingredients, or tip it into a nice big wide bowl, which is what we're going to do. Now, so it's quite heavy as well, so you might need a hand with it. And then this is why I use one of these, because you get everything out of the pan. You don't have any waste whatsoever, because there's lots of goodness in there, and you don't want any alcohol to end up going down the drain. You want it all in your cake to make it taste really nice. So there you go. So there's your pan done. Okay, I'm checking my recipe even though I do know it. So you're sifting your flour. So again, you've got your flour's already weighed out. You just pop it in the sieve and sift it in. Just a little bit there. And then you can give your eggs a little mix while you're deciding what you're going to put in next. So you're going to add your ground almonds and all your spices next. Where's my spice mix gone? Where have I put my spice mix? And here's the spice mix. I don't know what I've done with it, but anyway, there you go. So your spices can all go in. And again, your baking powder was already in there as well, so you don't have to worry about measuring that out. And then you're just going to give that a little stir, and then you're going to add your ground almonds, which are going to go in next. Ground almonds. Stir those in. Oh, the smell. The eggs. You don't need to mix them too much. Those in. Lovely. your flaked almonds, which add a little bit of crunch if you haven't got any other nuts in there. And then you just need your teaspoon of vanilla extract. So you just put your whole jar in of the vanilla extract that you got in your little glass jar that you can reuse. And then you're just mixing it all up. And that is basically it. It's such a simple recipe, but the results are just amazing. So while I'm stirring this, I'll just tell you about what you need to do once your cake is cooked. You need to make sure that you feed it once a week with the alcohol. And I usually put just a capful of the alcohol in, and you just sprinkle it over the top of the cake and then make sure you seal the cake back up again. So that's well mixed now. There's no pockets of flour in there. You just check through, just turn it over and just make sure that it's all very well mixed. And that is all that you need to do. And then it's just a case of then popping it in your ready prepared tins. So this is where I'm going to go back to the other spatula now, because it's a bit easier to work with. And sometimes I noticed when we did the workshops that we needed 2 people sometimes, because if you're not very strong, the bowls are quite heavy. So you might need somebody to just hold the bowl for you while you do this. So you're just going to spread it, if you're doing 2 tins, spread it between the 2 tins. And you can weigh them as well and make sure you've got equal amounts. Right, so I'm just going to put this down a minute because it's getting heavy and awkward. I've got half of it on the table as well. I'm just going to clean it off this because I'm going to use my spatula now for the rest of it. Fill it up, you get in nice and close in those. And then this is why I use this spatula, because it just gets it all out of the bottom of the pan, the bowl. And again, it's getting heavy. I'm just going to take all the mixture out like that. All the goodness in. And there you go. Done. So you're just going to spread it out in your container. And they don't rise very much because it's quite a dense mix that is with plain flour, so you're not really going to get much rise from it because it's a heavy fruit cake. And you just need to spread it out, press it down a little bit as you're spreading it to make sure that the cake goes right down into the corners. And there you have them ready to go in the oven. So you've already preheated your oven to 130 degrees, and then you're just going to pop them into the oven. And it's all in your instructions. Timings are different depending on what cake tin you're using, so just have a look at the top of your recipe sheet. I'm going to put mine in for 1 hour and 45 minutes, but it's not to say that it's going to be cooked at that time. It depends on your oven. You just need to make sure you check your cakes are cooked through at the end by using a skewer, and I'll show you that when we come to taking them out. So these have been in for 1 hour and a half. We'll just see how they're doing. They look done to me. So you just put a skewer down in the centre and see if it comes out clean. That's not bad. Yeah, they're done. If it came out all mushy, like there was still lots of cake on them, then you just leave them in for another 5 minutes at a time just to see how they go. And that's it. Well, once they're out of the oven, you just get a skewer of some description. If you just want to home in on this, what I'm doing, just go all over the cake. You might think that you're destroying it, but you're not, because you've got to get the holes in so that you can feed it. And then you don't have to do this again once you've done it this once. So I'm just going all over with the skewer and making lots of holes. And the reason that it looks like they're big holes is because there's fruit in there that has just been pushed down, so really don't worry about it. And then you just get a cap full of your alcohol. I'll do that one first. And you just sprinkle it over. And this is what you do once a week to feed the cake. It helps it to mature, it stops it from going off, and it gives it an amazing flavour. And that's it. So that now stays in the tin. I'm going to put it on a cooling rack and it'll stay in the tin until it's completely cold, and then I'll show you what to do next. I just realised that I didn't say something to you before when they were going in the oven. Ordinarily you would double wrap them on the outside as well. I chose not to do it with these small ones because they do cook quicker because they're only small. So if you're doing a 6-inch one, there's no need to worry, because as you can see they haven't caught and they're not too dark. If you have a look closely at them with the camera, see that they're still quite light, so they haven't overcooked. So with the big ones, they're in for about another half hour, 45 minutes on top of this, and that's when they can catch. So with the big ones, you'll just wrap the parchment or some newspaper around the outside and tie it with the string that I gave you. Okay, so I've cut 4 pieces of parchment, 2 for each of my cakes. I'm just going to get them out of the way. Take the base off. You can actually leave this on, keep the moisture in, and you've already fed it this time, so you don't have to worry about doing it again. And all you're doing is you're just going to wrap your cake up nice and neatly in the parchment, and then you're just going to store it away in a plastic box. Do the same with this one. In, stops the cake from drying out, and there you go. So that's all you need to do, and you just keep it, I've got 2 here so I'll squish them in, and you just keep it in a sealed box somewhere not too warm. I'm fortunate I've got a cellar, so mine's going to go down in the cellar, and it's going to get fed once a week. So like we did when it came out of the oven, we've already pierced the holes in it, so you don't have to do that again. All you do is you get a cap full of your liquid, whatever liquid you've decided to use, the alcohol or not, and pour it over the cake and then rewrap it. And then you do that up until the week you're going to ice it. If you're going to ice it, you don't have to. And I usually do that the week before Christmas. So I will leave this sort of 2 weeks before and then ice it the week before Christmas. And there'll be another video coming out a bit nearer to show you how to do that. So I hope it all goes well. I'd love some feedback from everybody, particularly the lady who's got the 14-year-old son. Don't forget to do a video of how he's getting on. I'd really love to see it, and I'm sure everybody else will as well. So if there's any questions at all about the pack or anything at all to do with the cake, then please just give me a call or send me a message. And good luck, and thank you.